I'm going to tell you all a short story. It begins with a small, awkward child receiving a brand new Nintendo GameCube and a handful of games that would go on to become legendary titles. Super Mario Sunshine and Metroid Prime, Animal Crossing and Smash Melee, and Pikmin. All games I enjoyed playing over and over again as a child and would go on to revisit many times as I got older. One of them, though, would take a very special place in my heart, and that is Pikmin. Playing it for the first time, I was confused and never really made it very far into the game until many years later. Little me was always scared of losing my Pikmin and was very combat averse, which, needless to say, is part of why I never got far. Even still, something about it stuck with me. The visuals, the sounds, the music, it all causes nostalgia to wash over me like a warm wave on a summer beach as I lay on the sand and marveled at the stars. This franchise, but specifically the first game, has become one of my absolute favorite games that I can always replay, right beside the likes of Persona 3 and Okami. I know I'm not alone in these feelings, and I hope you get the same feelings watching this video that I did while making it. Pikmin has an absolutely perfect opening screen. It sends a clear message that the game you're about to play takes place in a wild and beautifully unexplored locale. It's cute, playful, and animated in such a way that it's easy to get lost just looking at it. A very serene and inviting scene that's bookended by the exotic sound of the title music, making it almost meditative in nature. It doesn't feel like a start screen to a game. It feels much more organic. It feels like you're stepping into another world, and it's a testament to the design that a simple title screen can do that. But the actual main event is still ahead. Hakatate Freight, an interstellar shipping company based on the planet of the same name, Hakatate, shipping valuable resources and cargo all over in pursuit of profit and adventure. Olimar is the intelligent yet profoundly unlucky captain of the SS Dolphin. Today in particular is one that will forever alter Olimar's life and legacy, as his beloved ship collides with an asteroid, sending him crashing down to the surface of the planet below him, PNF 404. A planet that, while familiar to us, is a terrifying and alien landscape to the tiny Olimar, overflowing with unknown dangers. With the debris and dust settled from the crash, we see that Olimar managed to survive, and we watch as he scrambles to his feet, diligently assessing the reality of the situation before him as he mourns the skeletal state of his ship. In the crash, many of the Dolphin's essential parts were broken off and thrown all over the unexplored planet, including its engine. While Olimar quickly accepts that he's stranded for the moment, he also notes that the atmosphere on PNF 404 isn't safe for him. It contains high levels of oxygen, which is poisonous to his Hakatation body. Realizing that his life support system only has 30 days of functionality left, our little hero stays optimistic and resolves that he will find his ship parts, repair the Dolphin, and make it back to his beloved wife, children, and career on Hakatate. As we gain control of Olimar, we're also greeted by a light and playful little tune that sets the stage for the journey ahead. It's slightly off and alien sounding, yet it has a friendly coziness to it. That coziness, however, is accompanied by a looming sense of urgency. This is not a friendly planet, beautiful and relaxing as it may be, which is why it's time for us to begin exploring and gathering information about our unfamiliar surroundings. After wandering for a moment and getting accustomed to how Olimar moves, we stumble upon something strange embedded in the ground. It's an onion-shaped object seemingly waiting for an intrepid explorer to bring it to life and restore the population of its inhabitants. As Olimar approaches, the object springs to life, becoming flush with color as the flower atop it blooms. This peculiar discovery gets more peculiar still. as it sprouts legs and spits out from its flower a single seed. We watch as the seed burrows itself into the dirt and quickly grows into a long sprout. After inspecting it, we decide to try plucking it. What we're greeted by is none other than a sentient creature, a strange, plant-based life form that bears a striking resemblance to one of Olimar's favorite foods, Pick carrots. Noting that resemblance, he decides to dub these creatures Pikmin. Now, the game starts introducing you to what you'll be doing from here on out, introducing you to the core of Pikmin's gameplay, collecting. In this safe, time limit-free area, you get to experiment with the controls and learn how to survive. As soon as you throw that first Pikmin at the nearby pellet posy, it all makes sense. You see the Pikmin instinctively attack it, go into an idle state, and then begin hauling the pellet back to its onion to create more seeds. After gathering your new Pikmin, you begin to seek out more pellet posies to bolster the ranks of your growing army, scouring the landscape and gaining confidence in your abilities. Eventually, you pick the immediate area clean, and with more than 10 Pikmin at your disposal, you feel strong and not so alone. You feel ready to see more and notice a box nearby that's blocking your way towards new terrain. And thinking you have nothing to lose, you try to throw a Pikmin at it, then another and another and another. Your Pikmin, now working together, manage to move the obstruction and reveal a hopeful sight, the engine of the SS Dolphin. Eager to start your repairs, you run towards it, throw your Pikmin, and expect the same result as before. But the number that pops up above the engine is 10 out of 20. You don't have enough Pikmin. So you begin to search around, find enough pellet posies to reach that lofty 20 Pikmin count, and haul your engine back to your ship. With the engine repaired and installed, we can use the ship to explore farther out from the impact site. More importantly, Olimar can now, at the very least, spend the nights in a low orbit on the Dolphin, safe from whatever nocturnal horrors stalk the darkness of PNF 404's nighttime. After a great many ordeals, Olimar makes a return visit to the site where his struggle began some days ago. Now armed with 3 different varieties of Pikmin, we're equipped with everything needed to finally pick this area clean of both ship parts and resources. Things are not quite the same this time around though. Having been tested by the days spent surviving with your Pikmin through bloody battles and difficult situations, you look at the scenery with different eyes. The calm and safe atmosphere of this place now just seems to you like a cruel joke, a facade meant to trick any unwary wanderer into thinking this planet is a paradise of tranquility, rather than the brutal and savage place it actually is. Even still, you take deeper breaths and relax as you send your Pikmin around the familiar surroundings to gather pellet posies before you proceed. Having picked the area clean again, you begin making your way towards and across the bridge to the interior of the tree stump. What you see here is that after 8 days on PNF 404, 2 creatures share this wooden husk alternatingly. One is a huge, intimidating creature that is actually rather peaceful and wishes you no harm. The other is the opposite. A large, fluid-based monstrosity that resembles a slug but with far less solid form. It's aggressive and potentially dangerous, but thankfully it's slow and not much of a threat compared to most enemies that Olimar has had to overcome so far. After dispatching the disturbance, you take advantage of the yellow Pikmin and their ability to use bomb rocks. Using their produce-powered bombs, the stone wall in the tree trunk falls. Finally, after 8 long days, the entirety of this place has been unlocked to you. What awaits is water, A still, quiet pool of water filled with pearly clamps resting on the sand mounds. The only other part here, according to your radar, is being held by one of these creatures, which means that Olimar and his Pikmin are heading into battle again. With good sense and timing, all of the clamps in the pool fall to your army, and you reclaim the final part here, the positron generator, an apparent power source that Olimar mentions he uses to heat up his instant space noodles, which makes it a truly essential component. With that, all of our business is done here. We bid a final farewell to the impact site and take to a bittersweet orbit for the night. Knowing we're one step closer to getting home, Olimar will savor his instant space noodles tonight. The impact site is a fantastic first area to have. It's small, welcoming, and safe, and it has an unbeatable atmosphere that teaches you just about everything you need to know about the basics of the game. Or rather, it almost does. Personally, I would have loved if they had included a small look at combat on the first visit here. Maybe something like a scripted fight with a single dwarf Bulborb, or maybe a male Sheargrub. It's not anything major for sure, just a personal thing. We do somewhat get a glimpse of combat mechanics with the iridescent flint beetle we encounter, but that's not really a good representative sample of actual combat. This area also introduces us to some of the less well-aged mechanics of Pikmin 1, such as Pikmin randomly tripping and taking forever to stand up and try to catch up to you. More notably though, this little bridge foreshadows something we're going to be dealing with a lot later on, and that's how messy Pikmin are to control in the game. In later games, Pikmin would get better and better at keeping themselves on platforms and bridges, but here there is no attempt from them. You can use the swarm ability to try and keep them in line as you cross bridges and platforms, but you almost always end up losing a few anyway. And it can be pretty frustrating, especially if you're trying for a personal best or a speedrun or something. I can imagine a newcomer to the game being very frustrated by this difficulty with keeping the Pikmin under control, but it's still not too much of a major issue. All in all, the impact site, at least on your initial visit, is a well-designed place. It lets you get used to things at your pace, teaches you the game's mechanics in an organic way that isn't too overbearing, and it feels satisfying. The second visit to the impact site does feel a lot less gratifying though. While it feels good to be able to come back and fully explore this starting area, what you're greeted with is underwhelming. You can encounter the Mamuta or Gulix here if you're past the 8-day mark, and it's neat that they included optional bosses that alternate days, but beyond them there's nothing really interesting here. I do understand it was meant first and foremost as a tutorial area, but more could have been included here. Taking down that stone wall should have been a big moment where a rewarding environment should have been. Not to say it needed to be bigger and more elaborate, just more interesting. The only part of the impact site you have to return to explore, and it's just a small and empty beach with some clamps on it. It also tends to feel like a wasted day, given that you're probably at the point where you have blue Pikmin. You're probably well versed enough in Pikmin gameplay that doing everything here probably will only take half a day. Without many things of value left to grab or do, your choices are either just wait and do nothing, or end the day really early. That's generally all the criticism I have for the area though, and there are a few other points to talk about before I wrap this up. The visuals, though admittedly crunchy and dated even in the remaster, are still beautiful in their own way. This really was a showcase for how the GameCube could pump out some truly stunning visuals, at least for the time. You all know though, I couldn't end this without mentioning the music again. The entire soundtrack for Pikmin is something I'll go on about quite a bit throughout this series of videos, and the impact site has a track that just lights up my brain every time. As soon as the first few notes are played, I'm taken right back to sitting on my bed,
chewing on the cord of my controller like it's black licorice, wandering around with my Pikmin and being too afraid to lose my new friends in combat. The same can be said of just the sound effects of the menus, the erratic flying of the SS Dolphin on the area select screen, all the sounds the Pikmin make. It is all a delicious nostalgia sandwich for me, and I'm so happy I get to share that sandwich with you. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, let me know with a like and a comment. And I would love it if you would tap that subscribe button. I'm on the quest for my first 1,000 subscribers, and I'd like it if you would be one of them. Until next video, I love you all.